Welcome to Inland Edition, where this season we're having conversations with people who represent nonprofit organizations working to make the Inland Empire a better place. My name is Joe Richardson. I'm a local attorney, Inland Empire resident, and your host. And today we're going to chat with David Hahn, the Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity Riverside. Habitat for Humanity is an international organization that seeks to eliminate poverty and lack of housing from the world by making decent shelter a matter of conscience and action. The Riverside affiliate is an independently funded nonprofit dedicated to eliminating substandard housing locally through constructing, rehabilitating, and preserving homes across the Inland Empire. A unique facet of the organization is that while it provides affordable housing, prospective homeowners participate in the construction of their homes. A father of three and a longtime collaborator with nonprofits and low-income families in search of affordable housing, David Hahn volunteered for Habitat for Humanity regularly during his 34 years at Bank of America. Now working exclusively for the housing nonprofit, he feels that his work finally aligns with exactly where his heart has been. Let's meet him now and learn more about how Habitat for Humanity is affecting our community. To welcome to Inland Edition, David Hahn of Habitat for Humanity Riverside. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Right, so I always like to build the house a little bit first.
Okay.
And interestingly, we bumped up against some facts that demonstrated to me that you come by your public service work pretty honestly. Talk a little bit just about your background. You don't have to go on everything we talked about, but your background and how, you still kind of had a window on the public service even while you worked with Bank of America.
Well, sure. And that goes way back, way before I started working.
Right.
In my upbringing with my dad and my uncle and all my cousins and what a public servant really means.
Gotcha.
And I've carried that with me my entire life, not just my career.
Sure.
But working at Bank of America, after I was there for 34 years, and a good portion of that time I was either leading or participated in the Community Volunteers Program at Bank of America. And that's where I got to know Habitat for Humanity.
Right.
So about 25 years ago, I went on my first Habitat volunteer event.
Okay.
And found myself on the roof of a house pounding nails in downtown Riverside.
Right.
And I thought, well, I can do this.
Right.
And so we continued to volunteer as a community volunteer group from Bank of America with Habitat for Humanity. So I got to know the way that the Habitat works, how they do it at the local level, the business model, what their structure looked like. They're based now in Atlanta.
Okay.
And how that works. And when I retired from Bank of America, there was about a 6-month gap there. And I was sitting in the office of our former Bank of America market manager. His name's Al Arguello.
All right.
And he says, I hear that there's an opening for the executive director role in San Bernardino. And I said, oh, you got anybody in mind? And 3 weeks later, I find myself in Sacramento representing Habitat for Humanity, my second day on the job.
How about that?
And the same people I worked with at Bank of America in the Capitol building saw me and then didn't think, why are you here? This isn't Bank of America Day.
Right.
So I had the opportunity to introduce myself as the new executive director for Habitat for Humanity, San Bernardino area.
Wow.
And that was in 2018, January 18.
Okay. Right. And eventually you made it over to Riverside because there's separate organizations,
Yes.
is that right?
Yes. Every Habitat affiliate is a separate corporation that's affiliated with Habitat International, but it's its own separate organization. And so when the executive director in Riverside retired 2 years ago, I took the opportunity to get home.
maybe it's something else in the misconception category, is that, we're used to seeing, the picture of Jimmy Carter, doing something, maybe even overseas or whatever else. But, and also the big project, the big house, right? The houses. But you guys do a lot of smaller projects as well. And that's just as much a part of your fabric as the bigger projects that people tend to know about. Talk about that.
Well, Jimmy and Rosalind Carter were not the founders of Habitat for Humanity. They're not just our most famous volunteers,
Right, sure.
but are also the biggest cheerleaders for Habitat over all these years.
Right.
And they have a Carter family build that happens every year that gets a lot of attention and does a lot of great work.
Right.
And the Carter Center back there in Atlanta, they've just been a great partner for Habitat overall, for all of us.
Sure.
But yeah, we have our own projects. We just completed a project that is a little out of the box for Habitat for Humanity because we focus on home ownership.
Right.
That's our goal. So at Habitat for Humanity, our mission is to bring people together to build homes, communities, and hope.
Gotcha.
And sometimes we may have to go out of our comfort zone or our box of what we normally do to meet that need. Recently, we had, and this is a few years ago now, the city of Riverside, the mayor, came to Habitat asking for assistance with something that he had a vision for doing, and wasn't meted with the most appreciative response from the community at first, and knew though if he brought Habitat into the picture, the brand would help him sell his story. But it was for transitional living. And we just don't do that. I mean, we do home ownership.
Right, sure.
But he came to Habitat, and we agreed, and we built 10 little cottages that are just over 400 square feet each.
Wow.
In Riverside, in downtown Riverside, and they are now fully occupied. It didn't take long. There were people waiting.
Right.
And the housing authority for the city of Riverside did a fine job of getting those filled immediately.
Right. Wow.
And now that's a project now that is managed by the city of Riverside, the housing authority, plus Riverside Housing Development Corporation. So we don't operate that, we don't man that, but we were basically the developer for the project.
Wow.
But we were bringing people together. We had volunteers coming from all over the place to help build these cottages.
Right.
And not exactly what's in our normal list of to-dos at Habitat.
So, with that in mind, tell us how we know that the folks that you work with often will be low income or whatever else. How do they come across you? How do they connect to you? And also, how do the volunteers come to Habitat for Humanity? Because it is one of those things where, everybody wants to, people that volunteer, this is kind of like, hey, this is something that a lot of people do or that they think about or that they talk about. Tell me how you come across those folks.
Well, the families themselves that are interested, we are our target audience, low-income families who are currently renting in Riverside County.
Mm-hmm.
So they find us out through county offices, through different departments, local cities. They refer them over to us, and we have an application package, just like you would be if you were walking into the bank to fill out a mortgage package. And we we take that application. If we have a build that's going to be ready soon, then that'll be an active application. If not, then we will hold on to it until something comes up. But that's how they found out about it. Some of them they'll see a commercial on TV and wonder, hey, what's the Habitat Humane thing? Do they have pets there, or are they Humane Society? Are they Habitat? What are they? Right. But they see a commercial and it gets them interested. And so our website, www.habitatriverside.org, is where they can find out more information and a number to call. And that's also where the volunteers can find out where to volunteer.
Gotcha.
So we take individual volunteers, but we also, and this is where we do most of our volunteering, is with local companies and corporations and service organizations and churches and other nonprofits that want to come together and as a community and help build these new homes, or even do some of our other projects, because we do more than just build homes.
Right. Well, now tell us about that. I mean,
Okay.
you know, because you do a lot of stuff.
We have a program called A Brush with Kindness, which sounds like it's painting, which it is.
Right, gotcha.
So it's painting the homes of low-income homeowners that are either not able to do that themselves, or either seniors or maybe handicapped, or are not able to do it on their own or hire someone to do it.
Right.
And so they apply for the assistance, and then we will have a group of volunteers, 15 to 20 volunteers, go out there, and in one day, hopefully in one day, they'll paint that home.
Right, wow.
And there's other little things that need to be done. Maybe a ramp needs to be repaired, or a railing that needs to be replaced up to their house on a mobile home, or some yard work that needs to be done, or some landscaping that is not meeting the standards of the mobile home park that they're in, and we'll assist with that as well.
Tell me about, you guys also do repair projects.
We do. We have a critical home repair program. And that's a little bit more than just the painting and light landscaping. That's where you got somebody who's got a damaged roof, and in some cases needs to be completely replaced. Or they have some plumbing issues, or they've got some flooring issues where there's maybe some mold or mildew, and you know, when you start digging into it, you realize this whole thing has to be replaced. Now, we do those projects with the local cities. Right now, we have a contract with the city of Moreno Valley.
Okay.
And so we do those critical home repair projects with the city of Moreno Valley. But we are always looking to expand into other cities as well.
Right.
So if any other cities are out there that are looking to want us to help them out with our critical home repair program, we'd love to listen.
And speaking of folks who help, volunteers, let's talk to a couple of volunteers and a business partner and a Habitat family.
I am Bailey McKeon. I work at Habitat for Humanity Riverside, and I'm the Family Services Manager. We're in the Restore. It's open to the public. Anybody can come here. It provides everything that you can think of. Anything that people need for their home decor, for flooring, for construction, for repairs, for lighting, anything you can think of, we have. It comes from big box stores, from construction workers, from the everyday person that's moving, or estate sales. It comes from all walks of life, and we get all sorts of things. A lot of furniture, a lot of antiques. Sometimes we'll get floor samples from big box stores that have too much and they're trying to get rid of their product that doesn't sell, and then we get it, which is fantastic because people get heavily discounted furniture for a fraction of the price that it would be at the store, and it's the same item. We offer opportunities for people that buy fixer-uppers for first-time home buyers and that need those kind of repairs and can't afford Home Depot or Lowe's prices, so they come here with us for our discounted prices. It also helps people that need to renovate their home because we have bathroom fixtures, we have lighting, we have furniture, we have home decor. I mean, if you're trying to sell your home and show it, we get all the stuff that you need. We also help low-income families with home repair through two of our programs. A Brush with Kindness that helps the exterior of the home by painting it and preserve the home so they can live in it and be proud of the home that they have. The other one is critical home repair, and we offer health and safety repairs in the home, so like ADA modifications, citation repairs when they're getting citations from cities, flooring, plumbing's a big one, electrical's a big one, roofing. So that kind of stuff is huge for keeping our community together, for keeping our community safe, and keeping our community whole by repairing the homes and letting them stay in the homes.
Hi, I'm Heather. This is my house. I live here with my 2 children. The people behind me are from Habitat for Humanity and volunteers from Bank of America.
My name is Ryan Brown. I'm a consumer investments market leader here in the Temecula market. I also am a co-chair for volunteerism for the Inland Empire.
My name is Dawn Howard, and my specialty here, or what I specialize in, is I'm a supervisor for the volunteers.
We have a unit that needs some paint. So what we're doing is we're painting the base of the home and then also the trim. So our associates, like I said, about 40 to 45 of them are out here just making sure that this person's getting a brand new home.
So we bought this house about 1.5 years ago, and we spent a lot of time remodeling it. But there was no more funds for the outside and the cosmetics to make it fit in with our neighborhood. And
We're never islands to ourselves. A lot of us try to be. I was one of them. And it's difficult. And so when people are in need and there's someone to help fill that need, it's a wonderful feeling.
I think Habitat does a great job with coming out and providing that service to residents in the area. So I think it's important because some people that aren't able to to afford to do these things, they have the ability to lean on Habitat to really upkeep their home and make it the home they want it to be for their families.
I'm incredibly grateful. I've been excited since they told me they were coming. I've been telling all my work friends know that today's painting day. So I've been very excited. When all of the volunteers showed up today, I teared up a little bit because I'm just so grateful that all these people took their day to come help me and my children have a house we can be proud of.
Not everybody has what is needed to maintain their home. And so without Habitat, I think it would be harder for those who can't. And we don't necessarily give, but we help them help themselves. This homeowner here, Heather, she did her part, like taking care of mowing the weeds and picking the weeds and moving things out of the way so our painters can get to the painting the surfaces that they need to paint. So she did her part, and she's painting right now. So she's assisting in preserving her home. And so that gives a person a sense of pride. And that's what we need more of, not let someone else do it.
We have a lot of nonprofits that Bank of America work with. I personally like working with Habitat in Riverside because the feeling, the residents are out here, you get to meet them, you get to shake hands with them and really feel that impact and really feel that you're making a difference in someone's individual life.
I'm just incredibly grateful that they gave me this opportunity, and Habitat for Humanity is giving my family this opportunity, and for all the volunteers that came out today.
Tell me about, because you've been involved with Habitat, now you haven't always been, the head of Riverside or the head of San Bernardino, but you've always been connected, and you sit on the state board as well, right?
The Habitat for Humanity California as a board, yes.
So as a volunteer, in multiple roles, you've really been able to look through the window and sometimes in the house, no pun intended, for Habitat for Humanity. How has it changed? Has it been just a shift toward this incredible need for housing? Has it changed in other ways? At the risk of asking a very broad question, when I say, how has it changed over the years, what comes to mind for you?
Well, when I started at Habitat, and it's been just 6 years now, home ownership was not a topic discussed much in Sacramento.
Okay.
Affordable housing was.
Right.
But usually that answer came in the form of apartment buildings, multifamily housing.
Right.
Because of our efforts that we've had with our elected officials in Sacramento, we have created an awareness of home ownership as being one of the biggest answers, if not the biggest answer, to pull people out of this cycle of I'm not getting anywhere.
Sure.
I'm not improving. My family, what have I been able to put away for my family?
Sure.
Generational wealth isn't even discussed by some people. They're just trying to get by day.
Right.
But home ownership gives them that step up into that generational wealth opportunity and to leave something behind for their children and their children's children. Mm-hmm. And in Sacramento, it appeared that affordable housing wasn't including home ownership, whereas now You go up there and you'll talk to some elected officials. They go, "Hey, Habitat," you know, it's a changed environment. I know that the governor's budget is challenging right now,
Right, sure.
and that housing is right there on the line for getting slashed as far as the funding goes for that. But we continue to say how important it is for homeownership in the Inland Empire, specifically for us, to have families succeed and be successful generation after generation.
So this is one of, maybe this is in the multiple hat category. Is it safe to say you wear the advocacy hat with the organization as well, in terms that has you in contact with the public officials and things?
I do, as do all of my counterparts. Plus, some other ones have staff members. If there's a larger affiliate, they have staff that does advocacy, whether it's L.A. or San Diego, Orange County, Sacramento. They have others that are advocating just alongside as what we are doing with our elected officials. And it doesn't have to be always in Sacramento. We visit people here locally as well.
Right. I have a theory, and you, with the background that you have, having been in Los Angeles County, et cetera, can give me your thoughts on it. And our theory is that the Inland Empire, from a funding standpoint, whether you're talking about government or whether you're talking about priorities in terms of nonprofit funding, is often left behind, and maybe this is why, it's almost like sometimes it doesn't have its own identity separate from Los Angeles County or separate from these other areas. I'm sure you got to have some thoughts on that, given your background and given your familiarity with these areas.
Well, I've been in Inland Empire now for 35 years.
Okay, gotcha.
So yes, the roots are in LA County.
Sure.
But when I see Riverside and San Bernardino not getting what I say is the fair share, I have to say something.
Sure.
And when I see the nonprofits in other areas being rewarded funding through various sources that we would have access to as well.
Right.
But because they might be a little bit more high profile, and they forget about, those guys out there in the Inland Empire.
Right.
But hey, we are the ones that have been addressing the high density issues for these years as people have been migrating east.
Right, sure.
And settling here.
Yeah.
And we've been the answer in the Inland Empire. And if we had more funding out here, we've got the land.
Right, sure. Yeah, that's right.
We've got the land. All we have to do now is get the funding, and we'll build.
Right. Yeah.
Just give us the green, and we'll build.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a success story or stories that kind of reminds you why you do what you do? Something out there.
There's a family in San Bernardino that this lady, she applied, I believe it was in the year 2001, for a Habitat house for the mortgage, but couldn't qualify.
Right.
And this is a lady that came from another country with a number of kids, and was supporting them by working 2 and 3 jobs. And now the kids started moving out and going out on their own, and some of her kids started having their own kids and had families there. So with 3 generations now that were still living in the apartments.
Wow.
She was persistent. She was consistently persistent in applying that this is what God wants me to do. He wants me to have a Habitat house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she continued until she did finally reach that qualify. Her children were old enough to where they had their own jobs and could help with the income to qualify to make the payment. Now, this is a payment that had no interest because our Habitat mortgages are 0% interest equivalent loans.
Sure.
So it's just principal, taxes, and insurance.
Right.
But now that she had her kids as part of the household income, she qualified.
Wow.
And so I was there when we were able to build the house and put her in that home that she had waited 17, 18 years for. Maybe more. 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she, all along, she says, this is what God wanted. I thank the Lord Every time I walk through my front door, I thank Habitat and I thank the Lord that I finally have my home.
Wow, look at that.
So it was very inspirational to watch her through the process and have her come out and watch the home being built and have her 2 little grandkids that are now living, and they're probably not little anymore, watch that whole process happen as well.
Well, this has been a pleasure. I want to thank you, David Hahn, of the Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity Riverside.
Well, it's my pleasure, but before we leave, Deborah Don, got something for you. So when you come out and volunteer at our next construction site, you will be ready to go.
Now, yeah, this is a deposit in the future. So this means I really have to come.
You're committed.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm committed. I can't have the hard hat and not do the work. So
I would have brought the hammer, but I thought something might happen. So
oh yeah. So yeah, I can work with this. This is fantastic. I thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. And once again, another amazing, amazing organization letting you know how lives are being changed in the Inland Empire on a daily basis. We're glad that you joined us. Let everybody know they can see us on YouTube, not only see this episode and other episodes, but additional content you wouldn't have seen otherwise. So, till next time, make sure, let everyone know, come on back, watch us as we show how things are changing for the better, one conversation at a time. Till then, Joe Richardson for Inland Edition, signing off.